more that way. I'm
lots of donors.
into
the center here.
Yeah.
No,
I just bought recently.
That is not happening.
Like,
Quite an amazing story. I've seen it.
Maybe I'm just trying to fit in with it. Yeah.
I'm so excited to go back.
Oh, there's an intern program that.
12 or something.
Oh, you also tried to
But I think
think. Yeah, that
smaller.
Christy was
So
telling
we
me.
that's more interested in
Yeah.
spreading after
How long have you been here then?
game.
I got here end of August.
So we just left home.
So you built yourself
Didn't
along
necessarily
with the
just
boys?
follow
I didn't know they were.
jumped into a huge river.
Yeah,
And then
there's
it
one.
came
There's
out.
one. Yeah.
And
Because
you're
it
doing
just did.
something as
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I'm
lines
helping
and-
with that.
And then from there,
And then, so there's building and there's also work in the office.
in the
and
winter time, we went into the Himalayas.
retreats.
This are where my
We all-
visits.
And we went to a temple first and we were together. And then there was no world
Yes,
land, so
that's
it was
the
winter
main-
time now, so we're gonna get very, very cold here.
Part of
So, oh, I'm going on.
Oh my goodness.
It was yacht and then, you know, retreat program.
That sounds like a very common story, you know, around that age.
It's
We're nearing the end of a 7-week program with them.
Right.
So we
It goes there and it's
have
arrives
dialogues and a
and
bunch of
then travel
events,
over.
twice a
Then
week.
finally comes the fundraising.
But it ends.
Cool.
It's only the
Uses your-
Well, the interns and then there's
Movement. So you
3
can
staff
For long-term
members.
service.
Wow, that's
A girl from the school.
We have all our
So it's like just, so it's the interns, people from the community and then.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe
And
8
his
or 9 people.
many childhood
do
names
it.
and the other
Yeah.
NIL.
The important
Yeah,
thing
Jesus
is the one that's open to public.
Plus NIL.
No, it's not to the public, it's just,
Okay.
it's mainly
I'm
just
gonna
for
look at
the
the document.
doctor,
Could be.
younger people.
Everything's online these days.
Right, exactly.
The intern program is.
1 hour.
Yes, no, exactly. So that's what I'm saying, that's why we have to.
He narrates it.
That's for sure, yeah.
Okay, so then, from there, I'm
So
so
we do that. And then another part of the intern that I'm going to go through is to focus on topic is like a relationship. And well, I think
Yeah,
I
I can go
certified.
and that's how I got into Pygmalion.
That must be.
Oh, are you?
So every May, yeah, so we'll present.
Oh, yeah.
That's
They're in Australia.
And that's the other.
Friend of mine, like 10 years
No, I mean, because it's a year, so
In
I went in
October.
August,
Oh,
and
wow.
August,
But I had some
they
free
told me
time
it
at
was
that
November or
time.
something.
But I'll go here.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. What, and do you
But for the program with Richard and
Okay.
Deborah, we are, I am
It's
Richard
fantastic. I just got, I think
No,
certified and then shortly, like,
So
let
there's
me
that.
see, I graduated in December and I left for India in January. So then I was in India, I was traveling for 6 months, I came back to the States for like 2-3 months, and I'm going back.
Yeah,
Where did you
I
go,
was,
sir?
I really was.
Where at Yoga Works, which is just
I
vinyasa.
started a dialogue with
But I
Richard
practice
about
Ashtanga.
a year ago.
Yeah.
My dad.
So I definitely want to make my way to my
That's how I learned about it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Freaking
And
amazing.
so we
And
did
that's
that
what
right here,
teaches
and
them.
I.
Is it
No, I am going to Pune, which
Oh.
but see, I tried, I looked it up, something we had to
Yeah.
to go into there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I hadn't met him until I got picked up from
That's like
the airport right now. So I didn't know him actually, yeah, but I had been here when I was in college a couple times. I visited.
But you visited with your
Because
dad?
yoga.
No, I came here for a month, with the Richard Western college program.
Everyone, everything happens.
I heard a song about that.
So I had been here,
But I did
and I
just for
had
physical as a workout. I never connected with this.
studied,
But I went to LA is very much like that. I was very-
Yeah, most of it just like
Right.
supervision that we
and so the decision to come
And then
out
when you
here
go
was
over
a little easier.
Exactly, exactly.
It's not like, yeah.
Exactly.
Other thing is.
Yes.
I had to transform my life, and so then I started to do it, and then I was taught like the deeper levels of it. It's amazing. So I don't do it as a workout.
Yeah.
It's all so
Right, so
that I
deeper
used to be
aspects.
when I went to India.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's something I really
So,
wanted.
I know what this time you know.
Like I wanted like the eight limbs,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot of
Exactly,
exactly, and that sort of
So
thing.
that's what I was working on.
But I wanted to change.
more of the subtle body.
Yeah.
So it,
We don't have yoga.
yeah.
So the programming is so
That's why we
important.
don't have places. We
Yeah.
don't want
It's
to.
great that he's doing this.
So then-
Providing space.
It seems like Australia is very big into this. Yeah, I was thinking the majority of the time in that Filipino I was there.
Yeah, there's 3
I mean,
girls
close
left to
by,
come
closer
over
than
summer.
America.
And there's a boy coming
Asia, like in Thailand.
He's coming at some point, I don't know when, maybe soon or not this summer.
Yoga here.
So there's 4 lined up to come. There's 4 right now.
If it goes there, if it becomes very, very athletic only, then it will generate.
Yeah, but yeah, the goal is like 6 or 10.
He said we're in.
It was 6 for a while, but now I hear him saying 10.
Then
He
he
wants
was
to have combinations for sometimes.
yeah.
So I think that they want to have it.
So then you, what's going to do in Gujarat?
Gujarat.
Which is where?
Gujarat is the state.
Where was your major?
Maharashtra is the state from which Bombay is.
Okay.
Awesome.
This
perspective.
That's what Gandhi.
Yeah, different.
Gujarat.
Totally different, yeah. But then I did philosophy as well.
This is a Christian.
It's like Europe. It's the same
Political
size.
science, whatever you call it.
Introduced by
Those kind of classes. So I felt like I was good. It was like a very liberal arts.
It's the same national size.
Yeah. But yes, they call it. That's what I told my ass. Go just do liberal arts.
Diverse.
Very diverse.
That's fascinating. Why not?
It would make sense.
It's in South America.
Yeah.
And then there's the modern music. Hi.
Hi. I didn't see you. There for a good person.
I was there back in the
Good to see you.
We're missing one person, there's someone sitting there.
Yes, Jan, he moved over
That's
there.
Jan, oh.
Oh, you know the...
Like Jan,
Malcolm, can see you? Yeah. I like a Minnesota kind of band.
Jan, are we speaking loud enough for you?
Yeah, I'm really kind of deaf, so sometimes I miss some things, and I ask people to repeat that. Mostly I can hear
discrimination.
Mostly you can
We
hear.
can remember to speak up like self.
Just discriminating the truth.
Yeah.
That's all.
So feel free to
It's like what Krishna was saying.
ask for us to speak a bit louder or to repeat.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
too far back, this is great, and you're in the right position.
I thought somebody is sitting there.
It's Krishnamurti. So, what I'm proposing is that we start with 2 things. First, maybe introduce ourselves again, and maybe take some more time if you want. And also say how you're doing, if you want. Just where are you at the moment? And maybe what I notice what helps is that, I mean, we started yesterday and we explored various areas. And I think within these 2 hours that we discussed, there quite a few deep questions came already up. I mean, is transformation permanent? What's the track of wanting to change? And that there's a problem in that, there's a flawedness in that. So these are quite tough questions already to work at. But what I'm guessing is that for all of us, we're here and there are certain questions on our minds. And maybe also a question that you would like to explore during this weekend. And I thought it would be good actually to write down the questions that we're having And I would love to have some volunteer who wants to write down, because my handwriting is horrible. Nobody volunteers, I do it, but if somebody would like to write down the questions for me. So that each of you, I will put the invitation out later on again. But
I'll write if you want me to.
oh, I would love
No
that.
one else.
I would love that.
Just have good handwriting.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Last time I wrote all the questions down, I think nobody could read. What's that? It's like writing like a doctor, right? Like these.
That's why I wouldn't get up. I wouldn't get up. No way.
So you can just take some time also while you're sitting here. So what are the questions, if you somehow can come up on the questions that really matter to you and you would like to go into, and then there's something funny happening in the course of the weekend. What I experienced is actually, even without going into it deliberately, but just posing the question, if you look at the end of if we look tomorrow and you look at the questions again, you will see that all these questions will somehow spontaneously be answered or being touched upon. So that's why I suggest we do that. Another thing that I would like to bring out is, how do I say? What we're trying to do is somehow, I mean, in the essence of it, it's pretty counter our habitual standard movement. I mean, we know what it is to discuss. You have this opinion, I have this opinion. Okay, let's battle, right? That's a very common way, and because we already have standpoint, we already have viewpoint, we already have invested in certain ideas, and inevitably, when somebody says something that is not similar to ideas, well, I mean, we will. So there's no problem in that in itself, but what I hope, and that's maybe why I'm enthusiastic on organizing these kind of events, is that this space is being used to somehow consciously look at that, who we are, which is already so familiar that normally it just escapes our attention, because we're so much in the soup of our own thinking, that who we are is, we all have I know who I am. I don't like this, I don't like him, I don't like her, I like him, and he bullied me, so that soup, we're so familiar with that soup that we think we know ourselves really very well. But to step down, to step backwards, and to start looking at our reactions and at our responses and at the fabric of it, meaning what is behind all this? Why am I defending myself at all? What is there to be defended about? So to put ourselves in a bigger perspective and doing that consciously, and then allowing for the possibility for learning and change to happen. I mean, that is why this place is for. We're sitting here not to gain new opinions or to change other people's opinions or to impress, but that maybe by the conscious effort and being with a group of people who have come here, who have maybe read something about Krishnamurti or not, that's it, that's somehow irrelevant. But they start looking at yourself and looking at ourselves together and learning something new. And I think that is the starting point. So that's how I would like to see. And for that, we really need to carry it together. We really need to support each other in helping each other to bring out what is. Because even if somebody says something, and they might not be able even to formulate all these things. So we have to give space, time, ask questions. So we bring it, help each other to bring it up. So that we have this kind of supportive environment. So it's hard work, but I mean it's fun, and I think it's really a meaningful thing to do. So that was my little introduction. And that also more or less explains why I am here. besides the fact that it's also my work, but I mean that's somehow irrelevant because my work more or less evolved around what I like to do. Yeah, and maybe at the later stage I can maybe say more about the actual work I'm doing, and maybe tomorrow I will summarize a little bit what we're doing as a foundation, maybe, for those who are interested. And I can do it also at the dining table, maybe. And I would like just to go around, and each of you just to say how you're doing, maybe questions that came up from yesterday, maybe, and questions that I have that you maybe want to explore in the coming 2 days that we have, today and tomorrow. And yeah, so we go. Anybody wants to kick off? Or you want to kick off, sit down, or you want to pass the ball, the stick?
I am Sita. From yesterday to today, the change is, yesterday it was Sita, today I am Sita. So to begin with, I'm very much interested in exploring. So formulating questions is very important. I felt very deeply happy yesterday, the beginning, how it took from the small video, the concepts and everything. Actually, I felt that movement in myself, that neurotic movement in myself. And when I am away from this place, when I investigate by myself, several days, several occasions, several times, in relationships, I see this neurotic movement in myself, in my brain, and I think, am I crazy? I don't have anybody to share with that feeling without them putting label, or as a doctor like you, who can put a pill in my mouth. I don't want
So
that.
so you sought out some more neurotics.
That's where we begin at least. And then there are a lot of occasions, a tremendous clarity, especially early morning hours, when you wake up and you see through the window and you see a nice, a happy feeling, uninvited it comes. So where is this going like this? And in several times I questioned a lot. Transformation from my reading alone, my understanding alone, I think I understand. When I go out, all that goes to smash down. So what is it? Is it environment, normal relationships outside, which tears me apart, me and my understanding and going whatever it is, or an environment like this brings something else, like the questions yesterday, what is transformed state? Is it a permanent or anything like that? There are also some ideas are, whatever was clear or unclear, it was there. So I would like to explore all those things. And a bondage which unknowingly which develops, in neurotic way also there is a bondage. And even other way also see the bondage. What is that unitary process? That's what unites all of us. And why we can do this outside. These are the questions I can explore.
So I heard the question, is transformation a permanent state? And what was the question around bondage?
Bondage not in that sense, a kind of the loving thing with other people. Sometimes we see that with that affection and love, with its own space and everything.
So the question in that is?
Ends there. Life and death, movement. and a unity.
Yeah, and what is the total question? How does it, if you have to formulate it into one sentence?
There's no question.
Oh, okay. So the question you had, I mean, we're just looking for what question we could write is transformation and permanent state. Would that be something?
Yeah. How is it related to love, death, and life?
Love and life. Okay. Would you like to write it up?
Yeah, is transformation
and permanent state.
permanence,
And how it's related to love and life.
and how to relate it to love and life.
Yeah.
I would put it perhaps, how is love and life related to transformation?
Yeah, maybe that is a better way of putting it.
And
Love and life related, how is love and life related to transformation?
okay, is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I'm glad you checked in with her.
You have beautiful handwriting.
Thanks. And how does love and life fit into transformation?
Relate, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I like that word.
How do
Okay, I talk about the significance of life and education.
Well, your turn will...
I guess
If
it's
you want
my
to...
turn.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Okay. That's great.
He's jumping the line.
Who's putting it in a line?
So what was it?
Life is not in a line.
So your question, what was the significance of?
Yes. How is education? This was actually, I come to see that this was Murray's goal in life. They slapped the title of him as the world teacher, and so he's giving us an education, and he's telling us about how education is related to life. And for me, that has always been the big question. What is the significance of life? My father used to talk about the bluebird of happiness. He'd sing the song too. And I was with him in the park one day, and I saw a bluebird. Was that the bluebird of happiness? And and I'm beginning to see that the right education, you need to be educated rightly. And currently our education brings the unhappiness in our life. And seeing what the cause of the unhappiness is and ending it. That's the other part. Beginning to see learning is the goal of education. And that's why I come here. I want to learn about our lives. That's what I think we all have an interest in. And maybe transformation is, that may be a goal, perhaps. But more so, I like learning. I went to school, I got a degree in education, a master's degree, but I found out that I didn't want to be a teacher, I wanted to be a learner. I wanted to be a student. So, and I'm continuing it here. It's a beautiful place to see what is truly an education, learning, and I am learning, and I'm continuing to see. That's why I come here. I'm done.
Can you reiterate your question one more time?
Oh, what is the significance of life?
Okay. That's a small question.
Just 4 words.
Yeah, 4 words.
And I look up each one of them.
6 words, right?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the significance of life?
Good. Who's next?
I think one perplexing thing about Krishnamurti's teaching, and that this was also said yesterday by him, this awakening of intelligence. He talks about that that awaken your intelligence, become a light to yourself. So I'd like to explore that a bit too. I think what is this intelligence that Krishnamurti talks about? And it must be something real, obviously, because he's talking about something which exists, not just what Krishnamurti is talking about, but what is that intelligence?
Yes.
So I think a very, very interesting thing to explore as well, for me.
And how are you doing?
I don't think I have that intelligence. No, I'm just...
No, I don't mean in general.
In general, no, I think it's very good. I think we had a good discussion yesterday. Some very important subjects were brought out, and some sharing took place, some awakening took place, perhaps. So what is this intelligence? The awakening of intelligence.
What is the awakening?
Did you look up the word?
I will have you for that, looking up the words.
No, see, then you're making an authority out of it.
No, I'm just joking. I just joke around a lot.
But it's an interesting, okay, I'll rather read it. It means to read between. To read between the lines. Inter, between, legere is to read.
This Gence?
Interesting.
G-E-N-C-E? E-G-E. Yeah, Gence.
Okay, I'm feeling fantastic this morning. So grateful to be here. And what I want to explore for myself is change, because I changed my career. I'm traveling, to other parts of the world to find a true transformation. But is that really going to get me to change myself or change the way I perceive the world? So, change. How do I transform? That's my question.
How can I change?
How can I
Transform, change.
Are we going to be discussing these questions? Yeah, good.
come from Dallas, Texas. Even though I know about the teachings for over 40 years, in the beginning when I read it, it's completely over my head. I don't know what I'm reading, I don't know what I'm understanding. One thing I learned is the more and more I read it, the more and more I started understanding. But each time I read, there is level of understanding more. That's, I'll introduce myself with the teachings. Now, I got a habit, which I won't say good or bad, but in the morning after I get up, do some yoga exercises and everything, and I go read Krishnamurti for at least half an hour, and that is the most precious time, and I forget everything. The moment I come out of it, mundane world starts, I forget completely about Krishnamurti, and there's a complete different personality. This is what I'm questioning myself. Why that seriousness is not there? Does it to do anything with the place? That means if you come here or you go to a sacred place where there's a lot of meditation went on, you are completely different from what you are when you are in a mall. That's one of the things, why is it? Why I cannot stay in the same state? What is it that I have to do? And that's basic question, I always have it. The second thing is, by reading, I came to know what is really listening is. Now that became an idea. I don't know really what listening is till I said this is what is listening. Then he said, you listen with the memory, you listen with the idea, you listen with the images. I said, yeah, definitely. That struck my point. Yeah, yes, I'm not, never I'm listening. Now that became an idea. So when I start listening to you or something like that, I want to really put some kind of stress in not getting the ideas and images into my listening. That is basically the ideas are obstructing me from doing whatever I want to do. So my question will be, what is observation? That is it.
What is observation?
And maybe how not to make an idea of that.
Yeah, that's correct. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it becomes an idea too, yeah. But observation itself implies all these things. And these things are your ideas, images and memories are obstructing me from listening and being observant.
I'm Yossi, and I feel great whenever I come here. I'm just, it always surprises me how wonderful it is. I mean, how beautiful the place is, and how the room. I enjoy my room so much. I mean, it's the walls, the architecture, I mean, the way they set up. I mean, everything is so beautiful. And the calm I feel, I mean, it's just wonderful. And I'm so grateful to know there's such a place to come to. And what I was, the conflict I have right now in my life is that I'm going to these Rumi classes, and we discuss things too there, and it seems that the company I keep and the kind of people I associate with is becoming more and more important. Like it's kind of, it feels like I've lived all my life with you know, where I was born, and with my parents and my parents' friends, and I just look at it now and I see that there's a lot of immorality about the people I grew up with, about the people I married to. I mean, and not that I'm the moral one, I mean the victim or the good one. It's just that I feel that I just went along with it, you know, knowing deep in my heart there's something wrong with that. And then now, you know, just going to these Rumi classes and the thing that kind of, there's this little poem, this part of it, half of the poem that he sometimes repeats about the company you keep, and it just hits very home to me that, you know, it's important because I can't change those people, and I've been always engaged, and they pull me down into something that I don't want to be, and it's just my whole life. I mean, I don't have much time left, and my whole life is consumed with just engaging. I mean, just talking it over with her, my cousins, my mother, and I just realized that, well, maybe I should drop all these relationships. I mean, I have to change my relationships, and it's like an abyss, you know. How awfully lonesome. I mean, it's scary. I'm going to be, and it's late to form new relationships, and it's scary. And then, is it right, or I mean, is it okay for me to communicate all this to my kids? That, you know, there's certain things in my life, my parents' life, your grandparents, that are not right, that I oppose, and that's what, you know. And I just have everything here, and it's not out. And I'm just on the board, you know, it's just like, I'm just borderline exploding. I have to get it out, do something, change my life, you know. Because I'm getting older, my energy is kind of, I can't constantly be like in this kind of one foot in hell and one foot in heaven. You know, I'm exposed to this beautiful place, the Krishnamurti teaching Sufism. I mean, like, not Sufism, just the Rumi class, which is great. And then my own life is, I'm kind of like engaged. I mean, not engaged. I mean, just me myself. I don't have that light. You know. So what do? I shed all these relationships. I form new ones. I mean, this is about relationships with people and the company I made. You know, and changing that, and then communicating with my kids that, you know, this is who I am. I mean, I wasn't that, you know, I didn't want that now, I'm this, you know, kind of, my kids are getting confused. I mean, the people, I mean, just showing to, you know, I mean, I'm not a clear person. It's just because I haven't stood clearly where I am. So it's just like some mess I'm here. I mean, so if I could have clarity in my actions so that I am somebody, you know, that has something that has meaning, that life has meaning. So I don't know how.
Looking for clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to
formulate that.
How to live in an insane world. Is that the title of one of Krishnaji's books?
Relationships.
It's
relationship.
What company, or what company to keep, and.
But that seems to be the strategy for. So what will be the result of that if you have different company?
Yeah.
I'm guessing what you're looking for is a kind of, what maybe he'll say, it's a kind of different life, a sane life, or a life respected or
same life.
Same. So what's your underlying longing? What are you looking for? End of conflict, is that it? Or meaning in relationship?
Meaning. Meaning, some kind of integrity.
Integrity, okay, that's it. Integrity. Integrity in your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How can you have integrity when there's no integrity around you?
But at least, you can't change the world. At least you have some integrity so that you don't feel your life is not worth living,
Yeah. So how would you put it in a question? What would mean? How do I get integrity? How do I create a life with integrity?
Clarity, integrity.
Clarity and integrity.
Yeah.
I'll just put it like that.
Okay. It's clarity and integrity.
Just the two words.
Yeah.
Clarity and integrity. And that's question enough.
Okay. Yeah.
So perhaps it gets down to the words. You have to really see what it really means, what clarity actually means, and what integrity actually is.
And live it.
Because sometimes we've got a crazy idea of what integrity is, and you integrate, you put together various things. And, is that integrity and clarity?
We will address all these questions. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
I will go next. It's always such a blessing to be here. And I'm feeling very quiet this morning. And words are not coming very easily, but I will attempt something. I think I'm hearing other people say a lot of things that I experience, and when I'm here, I think everything just goes because I can talk about the things that I'm always exploring in my own life, but which are not supported by the environment that I'm in, because it's like then you go home and you're surrounded with a society and people who subscribe to all the illusions that we were conditioned to believe are reality. And it's just hard not to get sucked back into that craziness and to maintain some kind of clarity. And I think I come here to get refreshed as a respite from the insanity. And I know that, I carry the insanity within myself as well, but I'm attempting to explore another, I don't want to say path, but another way of existing. And as far as a question, it's hard to put in a question. I guess I would just say that what I've been exploring for myself the last, I don't know, many months is I don't know how to phrase it. It's kind of two parts. It's like, can one live without the self as we've been taught to believe the self is, what the self is? Can one live without that? And
And what would that be like? And I'm seeing bits and pieces of it, and you spoke, I think, about the defensiveness that's just knee-jerk. And I've been seeing it rather than just being in it. And I just had the thought the other day, there's nothing to defend. What am I defending? So that would be a question too.
Which one has most energy?
Well, what is there to defend is kind of part of the other. The exploration of...
Can I live without a self? And what is there to defend?
There you go.
Something like that?
Yeah.
You brought the word energy. You brought energy into that.
Me?
In rephrasing, you brought the word energy.
What is there to defend?
So maybe that can be...
Is it possible to live without a self?
Is it possible to live without a self?
My question was, which question is most energy?
So we can bring the energy part in.
And then I suppose this is speculative, but it's something I'm always wondering, what would that be like?
Yeah, what would it be like? Yeah.
There's a fear there. Oh.
You'll be just sitting on a chair for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Or you might just stall into a puddle. Who knows?
Well, let's see. I'm Jan, and let's see. I guess I kind of follow on your idea yesterday and today about the self, because she brings up the self, and the self is kind of the title of this weekend's investigation. And let's see. I think we talked quite a bit yesterday about the self and its existence, or the fact that it may not even exist. And so your question today is, what would it be like to live without the self? And I guess what I'm thinking is, we are living without the self. I think I'm saying that the self, or the I, or the ego, seems to be an artifact of thought. It is a consequence of thought. Krishnamurti says that the me is created by thought. And that seems so clear to me. I guess the question arises this way, is like, wait a minute, I'm sure that there's a self because I can sense it. I'm the one that feels jealous or whatever. You know, how could there, as someone said to me last week, how could there be jealousy without someone to feel jealous? You know, and so we have this question. I think this is really a big question. This is really a serious, very fruitful question. How could we feel anger, jealousy, or fear if there was nobody there to do that? And I think a principal part of Krishnamurti's teaching is that in fact there is nobody there to do that. There is just the thought. There is just the experience. There is no thinker or experiencer, or in his major one, there is no observer. He's saying the observer and the observed are the same. I interpret that to be the same thing as saying there is no observer separate from the observed. But without clearly understanding this fact of life, that there is no thinker, no observer, then we got get caught up in these things about the separation of the observer from the observed. And that, to me, is kind of a fruitless question. I mean, or the same with the thinker and the thought. How did the thinker get separated from the thought would be a question. Or can we integrate the two again? These are, if we could see clearly that there is no thinker, that there would be quite a bit resolved, it seems. So I don't know what question we would put up that embodies these things that I'm thinking about. Let's see.
Is there a thinker? Is there a thinker?
The thinker?
Is there a thinker?
I wouldn't put that question because it's pretty clear that there isn't. There can't be, you know.
But here we're putting questions, though we're not putting answers.
Would the question be, so why do so few people see this fact that I am seeing?
Okay.
Is that what you're...
Yeah, let's see.
Why they don't see it?
I guess there's it seems impossible to us that there could not be an I, that there might not be a me.
That's very clear to you, right? So what the question is, that seems very clear to you. So what the question is, why does nobody else hear that? Why is nobody else sharing? I'm seeing that so clearly. Why is nobody else seeing that? So.
Well, I wouldn't put it that way because it's well known, like for instance in neuroscience, they scan very carefully thought. They know what the brain activity, they know a lot about it. They know there's no center. There is common knowledge in science that there's no center up here that's doing the thinking.
But then they're not saying that, therefore there's no self. I don't think they say that.
But but still then how do you move that? I understand what you're saying. You're saying, hey, science, philosophy, my own understanding leads to there's no self, there's no center. But so your question is.
Okay, let me put the question this way.
You had a question that was intriguing to me. But how did they get separated?
Yes.
Would the question be in that direction? Like,
I don't think they are separated. I don't think that they're...
But we're saying they aren't, but then gives if they are. So what is...
Let me put it this way then. We know from Krishnamurti's, from a study of Krishnamurti, from what Krishnamurti says, and from our experience, we know that the observer is not the observer, that the thinker is not, the thinker is the thought, that the experiencer is the experience. Now, if these things are true, how could it be that there is a self? Because the self would seem to embody all those characteristics.
I understand, but that will be. So what's the question then?
Then that is the question.
What maintains
What you just said.
What maintains?
Yeah, the self.
What maintains the self? What maintains the self?
I wouldn't ask.
But that's your question.
I don't think the self is maintained.
Well, what maintains the illusion of the self?
What? Yeah.
What maintains the illusion of the self? Don't we know that it's language and thought?
Yeah, we don't know.
They don't live like
In
I see.
the state where analyzer is analyzed, thinker is thought, and where observer is observed, there is no self. That's there is no self. So that state.
Let me put the question this way. If there is no observer observing, aside from observation itself, if there is no thinker thinking apart from thought itself, how can a self be said to exist?
how this illusion comes up.
Yeah, illusion, or some. Is the essence of your question? Why do illusions not go away?
What are the challenges?
Is that what you're saying? Why do illusions persist?
Why?
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really my question.
No. I'm trying to get what the essence, because you're saying there's Krishnamurti, there are philosophers, there's science, there's even my own understanding. It all is clear.
Yeah.
There's no self.
Yeah.
Still, everybody talks about the self. Why does that persist?
Okay, then the question I would put is, can we do without that idea of the self? Suppose that we set that idea aside and say, we don't need it. Would we lose anything?
Yeah. But okay. So the pre thing, what you're stating that when you're not making explicit is that you think one should drop that idea.
Yeah, I would put the question, if we didn't use that idea that there is a self, an I, an ego that's operating here, what would we lose if we set that idea aside? Or just to write it down, we would say, can we
drop the idea of the self?
Yes.
Can we drop the idea of the self? Can we drop the idea of the self?
Yes.
Okay.
Then I would ask one more question.
But maybe you can write it down.
Yeah,
we
we
drop
can
the
write
idea
it
of the
down.
self.
Can we drop the idea of the self?
And then we're through for the weekend.
I just want to write the self. But I'll write
I have the material for another 5 weekends.
And remember the title is Reflections on the Self.
And you want to add something?
I would ask the question, perhaps it's already in that question, but one can ask then, what persists when the self is dropped? What persists when the self is dropped?
When the self is?
What
The
persists?
self persists.
Persists?
What remains, or what is the result of that?
What's the consequence of?
Not the consequence. What is the result? Well, consequence, result, yes. Yes, what persists?
What's left after the self is gone?
But
that was in there, that question's already there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
It's transferred.
No, that's not it.
Phyllis or something.
Oh, is it possible to?
And how will that be like? What would that be like? What would that be like?
It's the same
Yes.
question.
What would it be like?
Yeah.
What would it be like? Yeah.
Okay, so it's already there, so.
We covered that. Yeah.
It can be the illusion of the self.
But all right.
No, I'm happy that we have a question.
The idea, illusion. Yeah.
Greatest thing that exists. That's
Can I jump on? Can I add a question?
Oh, well, of course.
May I add?
Yes, you may.
She gets more than anyone else.
Yeah. His question, at one point he said, what would be lost? And I think that could be an interesting notion to...
So you would add here,
the idea of lost.
so you would be here, what would it like be and what would be lost?
Yes.
What would be lost?
Yes.
Okay.
Or what would be gained?
What would be
Yes.
different?
No, not lost.
What would be lost? You want the word lost in it.
Okay.
Because I think that's where fear comes in. And the fear is a retardant energy.
Did you, what was the word you said? Retarded?
No, she said retardant.
And yeah.
The retardant of why it doesn't go away.
I think
Look
fear
at
is the-
Well, you have to get the dictionary then, because there's a lot to look up.
But what I always hear, and this is what I'm listening for, is the opposite. The other end. Like I said, for every loss, there's gain. And this is usually what I'm beginning to see is
I was
the way of thought.
I was the
Thought
spot
is
when I was
always
saying
going from one end to the other end. It's not
So
so gain.
what is the opposite of retardant?
No, lost. Oh, sorry.
Loss.
He's asking something else.
No, retardant is back, right?
Yeah.
And backwards, so then there'd be a forward. Progress.
Progress. Self-progressing. Zach, you want to?
Sure. Yeah, I'm enjoying listening to all these questions. Glad to be here. My name's Zach and I'm an intern here. I don't know how many of you know that there's an internship program that just started like several months ago. And so I've been here since July and just exploring with all the people that work here and live here, and it's really enjoyable. For the question, hearing all these questions, I would tie in the transformation questions with this new idea that you brought up. And I would say if there's no self, what transforms?
Okay.
If there's no self, what transforms?
What is it that transforms if there's no self?
Yeah, we really need to look at that word itself. Transform.
What is it that transforms if there is no self?
I might ask this question about transformation. How is transformation related to information?
Should I write that down?
Well, if you...
I can write down lots of questions.
Yeah, you scratch out that other. I'm more concerned about the.
I think I didn't do a question. Did I do a question?
No, you didn't.
No.
I didn't. So I have still...
And neither did Francesca.
And I have to go as
Oh, yeah,
well.
Francesca, you're me first.
Yeah, so
I hope you have my question.
you hope I ask your question.
Yeah.
Send it to me, I'll ask it. I'm Francesca. It's been really nice to sit here and listen to all of you and questions and just learning about where people are coming from, because that's where I am in my life. I'm part of the internship program and got here about 3 months ago, and I came here to ask questions like this every day and all the time, and explore with other people who are also interested in this sort of life and these questions. And I have I don't know what question to ask.
This question.
I've just been listening to everybody and writing. I haven't really been thinking at all about a question to ask. Maybe something like, I like what Yasi was talking about integrity in your life and not having like one foot in hell, one foot in heaven, and relationships, and maybe something with how do I live, or how, something like that. Who do I spend my time with? How do I spend my time? So I don't know what one question that would be, but
to live with integrity, or to live with in harmony,
truly,
fully,
consistently,
yeah.
or something like that.
Meaningfully.
Can't. How does one
live in a meaningful way?
How does one live? Yeah. There's no one to, I guess I just should write it because I'm the writer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
There's no one to like,
You're the,
chocolate. So it means a sip. How can one live?
Authentically.
That's a good word.
you got it. Wow.
That's it, all right. Very good, okay.
Authentic or automatic?
You have a question?
Uh,
There's no room, but I will write it right here. For you.
Auto.
yeah, I know what I want to say something around. I don't know the question, but something around compassion and love. Because I think somehow these are essential ingredients. And but I just wonder how to put a question around that. How is compassion and love related to all these questions?
Good.
Can I just write compassion and love?
Yeah, you can put
We have
compassion
very
and love. Yeah,
intimate-
and how it's related to
So
all these
that's your
questions.
problem.
Yeah, compassion and love. You can even just put a heart there.
Very good.
Compassion and love among these
Your
questions.
picture.
I don't know whether she went or not.
The math man.
Did you go?
Yes.
One year, 10,000.
Compassion, yeah.
It's very proud.
Yes.
You guys,
Yeah.
you're
Munja.
I asked, yes.
Yours was awakening of intelligence.
So it's almost 11 o'clock, which I think is a good coffee time. Now there are two options to start with, and we can even change halfway. I have one video which I would like to play, but I can also imagine that we maybe start off with taking one question, or we watch the video and then look at the question. I mean, we have about 2 hours after. So any preference?
I think my preference would be to watch the video first.
Me too.
And that will sort of put us in the right frame of mind to
Okay.
deal with the questions. That's what I would say.
Okay, and then now, is this a good time for everybody to have a cup of coffee and a cup of tea and look at the sun? Okay, so we're back here at 1:15?
Yep.
1:15, good.
And the coffee is where?
Straight, yeah, that's in the kitchen.
Is there a Starbucks here somewhere?
Yes, that is.
No, I'm just joking.
Kitchen is the Starbucks.
That's a Starbucks.
What is a Starbucks? It's $5.
That's right.
I agree with you in that questions and answers. I relate with a lot of people with the questions and
Yeah, things do become clear when you see the words.
What are you studying? You said something.
I go to these classes which are poetry, like
This is the
like Persian poetry classes.
Poetry.
Yeah, but the poetry is kind of like more in terms of religious, not religious in a sense of like organized religious sense of what Krishna really means by religion, you know.
Yeah. That's more important.
Yeah.
That is,
So they talk about these things a lot, and it makes me
the Passion of the Christ. You've heard about that?
go more and more into myself.
Yeah.
Like
These are
be more and more serious about it.
supposedly
Especially
is
since
the compassion
it's kind of like based on
That's
Islam,
another
and
word.
then
that he gave his own
kind of like,
begotten son.
you're encouraged to pray 5 times a day. So 5
God
times a
give
day you
us
sit
Christian
alone
will.
with yourself. So it kind of becomes more intense than just like reading Krishnamurti once a week or something. It's just more.
There is a group.
No, yeah, there's a group that meets like once a week. And sometimes there's another group that meets another once a week, so I go to both groups. It's the same teachers. So it kind of, yeah, puts me in the right frame of mind and makes me very serious, you know, makes me kind of like, so I kind of, a lot of stuff drop away from me, you know, when you get that serious, and then, you know, a lot of like little things don't matter anymore. But then you get stuck with the bigger things, and then it's frustrating, and then if you don't go forward, if you don't open up doors for yourself, it's very frustrating. It's a lot of hard work, you know, psychically. I mean, if there's no opening, you know, it can be very lonesome.
Right.
You know?
Relationships get harder.
Yeah, nobody. I feel, well, you know, I can't talk about this with anybody, and I need a change, and then the change might alienate me more from my own friends.
The fear and the attachment.
But then if I don't change, then what's the meaning of this life? But I can't be here, I'm not happy here, then if I want to change, how is it going to happen? You know, there's a fear. Yeah.
And time is short.
And yeah, I don't have time, you know, I mean, she doesn't have time, and these young people,
We are all caught in this upbringing of the religious monarchies, divisions, and so much of the women against men or something like that. I see that all over the world. All over the world. And men with their power, with their more egoistic attitudes. I see all over the world. I thought that on the surface of the earth, they say they honor women, but they do it contradictory.
You don't see that as
they what?
They do contradictory. Contradiction.
Yeah.
Recently, my sister lost 6 months. She's in the process of divorce.
I went through a difficult divorce myself.
Her husband has a woman.
Has had other women.
And that's why she goes through that. So that's why. Not only that's why I was reading Krishnamurti's dialogues with another man. So release, he talks about Krishnamurti.
Release what?
Release. Self-release. That is where he gets frustrated, this man, and at one point he talks to him and said, when did you sleep with the women? So that man talks about sex. I mean, Krishnamurti says, Krishnamurti talks to him and he goes through into the self-release. That is the explosion. So that is where self wants to release, whether man or women. In terms of the drugs, they find a way to release that. So my sister's husband, I was seeing, he sees a lot of women and he drinks a lot. So he is finding his release.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
You want to sit down?
I'll just sit here.
Shall I bring you to?
No, I think he's hurting. So that's why the sociological conditioning, is all over the world. All over the world. conditioning, my brain, it tastes like this. Moments. I see daytime when I was intensely exploring, suddenly I fall asleep. Waking up, brain gets torn with this thing, not torn. All this conditioning comes out. I see that so much human conditioning there. I'm not there with a man. I'm not thinking personally. But where is this conditioning coming? You see what I mean?
So you're talking about your brain.
Yeah, it is an unconscious mind, which is the entire universe. I go through that in the night. I go through outwardly. I mean, in the daytime sleep, my brain. So that is my brain and mind I wanted to talk about more. What's interesting. It's not our brain or our mind. It's a conditioning thing. Religious conditioning and conflicts and gender, the thing.
Between man and woman.
Man and women. Actually, at one place, Krishnamurti talks about in every human being there is this energy, only one energy, which operates like man, which operates like female, depending on the situation. So energy is not actually divided as male, but he says male and female energy. The integration of that is wholeness. Integration in the sense understanding. He talks it. The same energy in one occasion. I just give an example when a child doesn't listen to his mother's commands. That's a kind of aggressive. To the same side you have love also. You are worried that child gets hurt. The same energy.
It's a lot to think about,
I'm confused too. But
One thing at a time. It's a lot. I'll have to go get.
I don't know, do we have anything to eat then?
Yes, cookies and candy. And coffee and tea and water.
I can relate with your questions very well.
Pardon me?
I can relate with your questions. I can relate with everybody's questions. The book I was talking about, the book I was talking about is Transparent Mind.
Transparent Mind. Yeah. I didn't say that in the beginning. That's on the net. On the internet, I put it down like streaming now. We have that. But it's only there, huh?
Yeah. And but does it pick up the sound from the whole room?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Good.
Small.
Yeah.
Go for a ride.
This is higher up.
Is this the Clint Eastwood movie we're watching?
Clint Eastwood. About
Wild Wild West.
Such a strange to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
It goes down. It goes down like
yeah.
Do you have a good walk?
Yeah, I had some air. Where the sun is.
That is beautiful.
The horse of Shiva with his father, and they put
ఇందులో ఉందండి ఇంకో పాకెట్లో పెట్టాను.
He died in 1985, correct?
Indeed.
Died in 1985.
86 and
Yeah.
oh, maybe 86 and
Relationship with freedom, some interest.
Yeah, this is an edited, it's pretty heavily edited.
What are all these things?
Oh, it just says Krishnamurti.
Oh, it's like her race glasses.
This academic guy, this teacher. And then
Malcolm, you can sit here.
Ed talks.
That's all right, I don't, it's a talk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he went through.
I'm here to
Oh, you
listen.
sit here too.
No, I'm here to listen. Reading is also talk on paper.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
and it's government kind of academic work, but it's not stuff
Transformation changes. So it's not fixed. And let's prove that point.
Getting hooked up there.
We hook you up.
So one time, forgot that the microphone, I didn't know. It's on film,
Oh, this is the students, all right, cute.
Yes.
When you were young, I was also cute.
Yeah, I love that picture. It's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a big.
Yes.
Only 5 seconds.
Really?
I thought you wasn't too tall.
This was one of the last talks he gave. He died in '86.
When did it die?
Those people are just of cooperation. And from that, and also with the speaker very much happy. I appeal to you to talk about things today. We have talked about time, thought, and fear. And as we said, this is not a lecture about a particular subject intended to inform or instruct. This is a conversation between you and the speaker. Today, we're going to look at all the things that we consider are important in our life. Our daily life. Not only our life as a businessman, or a doctor, or a professor, or a scientist, and so on. Or if you want to belong to that group, groups. We're not concerned about others, but rather we are going to have a conversation in which there is no fire, in which there is no specialist, we're all made. And together we're going to talk about what we have done in the past, through talks and questions and answers, and also we're going to talk about it this morning, which is rather rainy and gloomy and sorry. It was a lovely day yesterday. And we're going to talk about together about freedom, self-interest, pleasure, pain, sorrow, and love is one. And if there is time, we We also talk about death. If that is all right with you. As we said previously, we are not a serious group, but this is spiritualist. He's been at it for the last 7 years or more. And just attending a couple of talks or reading some printed words is not going to solve our problems. You're not going to help us. And the speaker is not trying to help you. He's been convinced of it. Assured that the speaker is not authority and therefore is not a person to whom you can turn to help, to be helped. There are others who might help you. And if you want to be helped, then you are. When you point out most respectfully, you leave your problems to be solved to others. And they will solve them according to their desires, self-interest, their power, their position, and all their wishes. So we are ordinary laymen talking over together. We're going to inquire together, face the facts, not the ideas about the fact, but facts. And not ideologies, the meanings. Not about theories, speculations. Who is really, who is not? Who is what? We are more than you. But together, we're going to go into this question of freedom. What relations make freedom to time, and time to thought, and action. Because we live by action. Everything we do is action, not a particular action. I know this is all of the scientific world, or the speculative world called philosophy. But rather, we're going to look at things as they are. There's a great deal of anarchy in the world. Chaos, disorder, and who has brought this about? These are questions. Who is responsible for all the mess that we have in the world, economically, socially, politically, and so on, all leading up to war. The wars going on, terrible wars, now. And each one of us realize, not intellectually but actually, in our daily life, the house in which we live, not only the house built by man outside, but the house inside. Do we realize how disorderly it is? Contradictory. How very little freedom we have. That word freedom also implies love. Not just freedom to do what you like, when you like, where you like. But we are living on this earth, all of us, and each one is seeking his own freedom, his own expression, his own fulfillment, his own power to enlightenment, whatever that be. His own particular form of religion, superstition, belief, faith, and all the things that go with authority, hierarchical authority, political, religious, and so on. So we have very little freedom. And that word, which is so freely used by every psychopath, and every human being, whether he lives in Russia, whether the Chinese are Poland, or in so-called democratic world. Every human being, inwardly, consciously or unconsciously, needs freedom. Like every tree in the world needs freedom to grow, to have that sense of quality of dignity. Now, what's the relationship of freedom to self-interest? Please, we are talking things over together. You are not, from the point out, talking, listening to a speaker, listening to a man on the platform. He's not important at all. Another speaker really means this. He's not important. The speaker. But perhaps you might give your ear to what he says as two friends talking about things very seriously. We ask him, what is the relationship between freedom and self-interest? Where do you draw the line between freedom and self-interest? And what is self-interest? What is its relationship to thought and to time? These all these questions are involved in freedom. Bear in mind that freedom is not fulfilling one's own ambitions willingly and so on. What is the relationship of self-interest with regard to freedom? You know what self-interest is? Self-interest may hide in every still of our life. Are we talking together? I'm quite sure we are talking together. Not somebody higher up, but we're also in the same level. What is self-interest? Can one consciously, deliberately inquire into that? How deep, how superficial, where it is necessary, where it is totally, completely has to look at script. You say a question, you have to get a question. Self-interest has brought about a great deal of confusion in the world. Great deal of disorder, confusion, conflict. We have that self-interest we identify with a country, with a community, with a family, or with God, with the beliefs, the faiths, and so on. It's all self-interest. Seeking enlightenment, God's sake, that they will seek it. Also, in that search, there is the self-interest. And also the self-interest in the warehouse having shares, mortgages. And the self-interest is encouraged commercially. And also in all ages, they talk about liberation, but self-interest first. And we have to live in this world. We have to function, to earn money, have children, be married or not there. And living in this world of the 20th century, how deep or how superficial is our self-interest? It's important to inquire into this. Self-interest divides people, right? We and they, you and I. My interest is close to your interest. My family or family interests oppose your family interests. Your country, my country. In which I have invested a great deal of emotion and physical interest, for which I am willing to fight and kill, which is war. We invest our interest in ideas, faith, beliefs, dogmas, rituals and so on. This whole cycle. At the root of it there is a great deal of self-interest. Now can one live in this world daily, clearly, with self-interest where it is necessary? Please, I'm using this word carefully. Where it is physically necessary and psychologically inwardly, it is totally abandoned. Is that possible? Are we together? Is it possible for each one of us living together in a very, very complex society, competitive, divided by agreement and disagreement, faith opposing another faith, this great division that's going on, not only individually, but collectively. And living in this world, where do we draw the line? self-interest and no self-interest whatsoever psychology. Can we do that? You can talk about the enemies as we like to go to talks and lectures and listen to somebody. But here we have to observe together. You have to not only listen to each other verbally, but also deeply, inwardly find out extensively, not just myself, extensive, wholly, where self-interest lies. And anyway, psychologically, can you live without any kind of muttering of self, of the self, the me, which is the essence of self-interest. Another part of this play, or saying this is self-interest, this is not self-interest, that would be terrible. But one can find out for oneself either very carefully inquiring, step by step, hesitantly, not coming to any conclusion, and find out for oneself, because there is nobody going to help us. I think we must be completely reassured. Nobody is going to help us. They may pretend, and we may pretend. But the actuality is, after these 2.5 million years or 40,000 years, we are still sitting here and we are stuck. We are coming to the end of our terror. Into self-interest we have to go with the question also, what is freedom? And freedom implies love. Freedom does not mean irresponsibility, doing exactly what one wants, which is not about such messy world. And also, what relationship is self-interest to thought? We went to the question of time, the other way, and also thought, thinking. So you go to the brief of time and thought, we do. She will repeat the word of the touch all the matters. For the speaker at least. So as to value the words, the special phrasing, the silence between the phrases, always imply what we both for the speaker. But we never listen to words, and not act. Then we will be left only with ashes. say is part of evolution of the brain for 2.5 million years. Time is also sunrise, sunset. Time also is hope. I hope, one hopes. Time also is remembrance. Time is also all the knowledge, experience that one has gathered, which is knowledge, both scientific, personal, collective, racial, and so. Time is tradition. And thought is based on knowledge, which is the outcome of experience. Whether that experience is personal, collective, racial, or traditional, is still knowledge. And knowledge is always limited by an infinite future or infinite past. Because knowledge is essentially put together through experience. Adding more and more and more what already has been known. That's what the scientists are doing. That's what we are, adding more and more. So knowledge is always limited. Always. Past, present, and future. And time is the process of this accumulation called knowledge. You needed time to go to the moon. Time to think it out. Time to cooperate collectively. And so on. So time, thought are not separate, they are one single movement. Whatever we go together, or so just words. So time is not only the past, present, and the future. The present modifying itself according, modifying the past, and therefore the future. The future of tomorrow is what I am today. So now, that is the moment that you're sitting there, that you're listening, that you're paying perhaps attention. The now contains all time. So one lives, one really deeply, profoundly understands it. Then, change is totally meaningless. You're all what you are now. And to remain with that. Not saying I hope to change, I become this, I'm violent, but I'm great and non-violent, which is, you understand what we're talking about? We're clear on this. Don't be puzzled, it's very, very simple. It is really terribly simple if you come to look at it. I'm violent today. I have been violent for the last 2.5 million years. So have you. We have been violent. Right? We'll try to cover it over with words, with explanations, with logical conclusions, but we are still violent. each other, hurting each other, both physically and psychologically, competitive, barbarous, right? We are violent people. All that's going on in the world, from bombs, the terrorists, all the horrible things that are happening to the animals, to our human beings. Don't you know, the world, we are violent people. If there is no transformation now, at this moment, and this second, tomorrow we will still be violent, right? That's logical, reasonable. Do pay little attention to it, if you don't know. Fine, angry, hating, antagonistic now, I will be saved tomorrow. Well, it's who is. So, the now contains the past, the present, and the future. So any change implies a movement in time. Right? I am this, but I will be there. That means time. Which means I've really not captured the significance of time. But if I remain with what is complete, without any single movement away from that which I observe, hold, stay with, is me. Violence is not separate from me. I am violent. Anger is not separate from me. I am. Why? Greed, envy, I am. But we have separated, therefore there is conflict. This is very simple. It's clear to us somewhat. Not I'm making clear to you. You are making the thing clear for yourself. So it's not you understand what is being said or the speaker explains what he means. Or you could say, I don't understand you. You are not understanding the speaker, you are understanding yourself. You are looking at yourself. If you are not too depressed, you are not too lazy, if you are not too concerned with superficial things. So time, thought, self-interest, and even in the cycle, there is no freedom. Obviously, where there is self-interest that can never be so free. So obvious. So simple if you look at it. And the more simple it is, the more subtle, the more extraordinary depth it has. We will also talk about together the whole acquisitive, pleasurable, gratifying process. Alright? You are willing to go into all this? Don't say that. It's like digging in the earth to find gold. You don't find gold scratching your superficial scratching, you have to dig. You have to go down very, very deep. Not in the air, in the sky, but you are the entire humanity, as we said the other day. So you don't have to look for a writer to help you or to help you to give or to go with yourself. You are that. You are the whole mankind. Well, what you think, millions of others think this. Think, not what they think about thinking. Thinking is common to all mankind. Whether scientists, whether Buddhists, Catholics, or God's whatever. They all think. They all have pleasure sexually, or pleasure in attachment, in possession, pleasure in achieving position, money, glory, fame, and all that business. And all human beings, whatever is color, privilege, religion, they all go through pleasure, pain, anxiety, uncertainty, and sorrow. Right? So it's not your particular sorrow only. It's not your own particular pleasure, it's the pleasure of mankind. Right? We always sought pleasure. Physically, psychologically. And if not finding a way, we invent something extra-territorial. Little green man. Solitary off. Pleasure in acquisition. Possession. I possess you, you possess me. Think it over. Look at it. And the pleasure always clouded over with fear. So, pleasure, fear, self-interest, time, thought, around one movement, not separate movements. And also we have to inquire into what is suffering. Why man, from time during time, has suffered. They have done everything on God's earth to escape from suffering. Not only physical suffering, but much more important, psychological suffering. And in spite of all religions, one particular religion worshipping death, suffering as they do in Christianity, and other religions having other extremes, man has never, or woman has never solved this problem. they bear with it, they tolerate it, they get critical, they become sympathetic. Shed tears. And suffering is coming to a whole lot of us in different forms. Either becomes exaggerated or you just shed tears and look at yourself and carry on. And there is always this clear of each other. Well, thousands, millions upon millions of shed tears. The brutality of it all, the insanity of war, building armaments, while millions and millions starve. I don't have to go to it's not built here. One nationality fighting another nationality, another group of human beings like yourself. They call themselves British, Indian or other label. But you are human beings first. So, we ask you to go into suffering, not to war. As long as we are separated as a family, as a community, or a clique, as a nation, rulers and so on, this division is going to create always perpetual conflict. You and me, we and they, this is not we going to be free. It was tribal, limited, now it's will. So we're asking ourselves, is there a way to solve? Shall I put this question seriously to yourself? Well, where there is someone that cannot be loved, there can be sympathy, pity, tolerance, empathy. But generosity, pity, sympathy is not enough. Love may contain all that, or have all that. But the dark parts will make the whole. We can create all this sympathy, empathy, kindness, generosity, friendship. But it's not enough. So, is there a way to solve what requires immense, great deal of energy going into it, not just I think about it. Thinking may be the factor of sorrow. My son is dead. When I put his phone off and the mantelpiece on the piano with a silver frame, I remember. Remember the synthesis of thought. Thinking how we enjoy the sunset together. How we walk in the forest, laughing, skipping, and he's gone. But the remembrance of him goes on. And that remembrance will be the fact factor of sorrow. I don't want to admit my son is dead. To admit such a fact is to admit utter loneliness. And we don't want to face this good fact of being utterly by oneself. And so I look for another. I rely for my happiness, satisfaction, sexual or otherwise, look to another. And I play the same game over and over again. But I'm not in it sorrow. Not I speak of, but we are not in it sorrow. Sorrow is not only self-pity, self-interest, but also the loss of that which I've had, the loss, the failure to fulfill, to achieve, to gain something which I worked for, not only physically but psychologically. All this implied in sorrow and much more. And we're asking of ourselves, nobody is putting this question or demand this challenge to you, but you're asking this of yourself with a solemn prayer. Not only the sorrow of oneself, where it is there in oneself, but also the sorrow of mankind of which you are. It means no killing another, of another. No psychological wounding another. Yes, sir. As we say, there is sorrow that cannot be left, which is a fact. So we have to inquire, or look, not inquire, but look, where, what is love? That word has been so used, so spat on, defeated and made ugly. I love my country. I love my God. I am devoted. I pray from love. Right? I am not loved, but I want to be loved. The love purpose. Is love sensation? Please ask yourself all these questions. Is love a continuation and hindrance of pleasure? Is love desire? What desire is? May I go to briefly? What is desire? That which you are driven and driven. Tear apart. What is that thing called desire? Not to suppress it, not to transmute it or do something with the movement of desire, how does it come about? Are you putting this good to yourself, or do you want the speaker to explain for God's sake? Let's go. We live by sensation, whether physical sensation or psychological sensation. Sensation is part of response, part of comparison, and so sensation, I sense, feel, I sense the atmosphere, good or bad. Sensation, that sensation comes about through seeing, touching, hearing. And then what happens after sensation? Thought comes in, uses that sensation as an image. I see a nice house or a garden or a nice picture of furniture or a nice room, and the sensation, the seeing. The observing contact, then sensation comes. Unless there is sensation, we are paralyzed, as most of us are. We are paralyzed if we don't have sensation in our legs, in our hands, in all the rest of it. So, sensation, then what happens? Thought takes sensation and makes that into an image. Right? I see you beautifully dressed, clean, healthy, bright, good, and good brain, and all the rest of that. I see that. The way you talk, you do this and that, and so on. Then thought says, I wish I were like him or her. And that moment desires more. Right? Sensation, then desire, then thought giving shape to that sensation. And if there's an interval between sensation and thought, then you can go into it much more, but not now. Notice, are we somewhat more in this? You see, so our difficulty is we are so complex in our thinking, so want to find out. Always looking, finding an answer, problems, solutions, and how am I to do it. We are never simple. Not physically, so God don't produce having some food, little clothes or food or eating one meal or all that. What's that kind of food that's called? I forgot the name of it, from Japan. What's that? Huh? Natural. You're crazy on that. Everyone was crazy about yoga and all the rest of it. You know, they play it. We're not playing. This is in the center. this is something you are holding. This is our life, our very lonely, ugly little life. So what is love? And love exists where there is hate and fear, where there is competition and comparison, where there is conformity, agree or disagree. Don't all this stuff. Or is love nothing to do with all this? Is love something in the brain, inside the skull? Or is it something entirely known for and applied? And where there is self-interest that cannot be love. Obviously, so consider all this for oneself. Then what relationship has love to sorrow? And can love be compassion? Not only I love you, you love me. Love is not yours or mine, it's love. Right? I will marry, children, sex, and all the rest of it. No love into tenderness, generosity, politeness, kindness, yielding, tolerability. That's not love, that is not love. So compassion and love are not separate at all. And can one live like that? Yes, can one have this? What's life? Not in abstract moments when you are sitting yourself on the sofa or walking in the woods, a flashes, a scent, a perfume that is for a second to transform your whole existence. Can we live our daily life with that perfume? But that compassion has its own intelligence. Not the compassion of man going out to Europe, Africa and do some missionary work or helping the poor, desperate poor. That's not love. Where there is love, there is absolute freedom. Not to do what you like. Not to say, assert yourself. Or convert all that kind of silly stuff. So, that intelligence is not the intelligence of thought. Right? One needs a great deal of intelligence, tremendous intelligence, to really know what to put somebody together, to make a computer. Right? That's a posh intelligence. The scientist, the painter, the poet, the ordinary person who's makes a brain without intelligence. It's not complete intelligence. And that holistic intelligence, the whole quality of that intelligence can only come about with the ending of sorrow and love. And that acts, not the action which is possible, brought about by thought and time. Nirvana or free state. We can't hold hands, but we can sit quietly for a few minutes. Shall we? Good. Not meditate. Sit quiet. Kindly draw, then I speak over there.
What did you say?
I said we can all wake up. About half an hour, maybe a nice time to maybe explore a little bit.
Yes. I think all the questions have been answered, I think.
No, all the questions have been put out there.
What struck me actually is actually that he hardly answers anything. He said, "What is love?" He says a few things what it's not, but there's nothing else that he said. He doesn't give you anything.
Let's say where there's self-interest, there's no love.
Yeah.
Which is a big clue.
I really feel like, I mean, what you said, you know, a lot of the stuff fell off because what he said and he brought out love, it seems that a few of those questions are what is after the self is gone, you know, it's love. And then, I mean, it seems a lot of the stuff just fell off automatically by him bringing out love.
And for your question, what was that? Clarity and integrity. How did anything come up for you on that?
I mean, my question, it seems like for like a second or maybe like for a short time, it seems like my question wasn't relevant anyway. It seemed that,
But perhaps that clarity has something to do with the intelligence that he was talking about.
what?
The intelligence that he talked about towards the end.
Yeah.
Were you asleep at that time?
I don't know.
He talked about intelligence at the end. And if that intelligence is awakened, then there is clarity.
Yeah.
Is that why it fell off?
It seems so, yeah. I mean, something holistic. I mean, yeah, something bigger. I mean, it seems that you see the bigger picture, and then something that was very interesting was he was saying generosity is not love. This is not love. All the good qualities, the kindness, the giving to the poor, and all these things are not love. All the little different parts do not make the whole. So love is something that's whole.
You talk about partial intelligence too.
Partial. So it seems that
yes.
My question was very partial. So.
Are you saying something like, well, I put that question from a partial space, and then suddenly I realized there's a bigger question.
Yeah.
And what would that be then? What would be the non-partial question? How would you phrase it? Non-partial, or what would be the encapsulating?
Yeah, the non-partial would be. The word beauty comes to mind. I mean, just beauty and intelligence. I mean, when these things are present, then none of these little parts matter. They don't. They're not significant anymore. They don't bother you anymore.
I'm not sure if it's the word partial. It's impartial, not non-partial. The real problem you can see, it's right there in that word, the part. We're always looking at life in parts. And he's talking about the whole of love. It isn't divided into these various acts. Even kindness and tolerance and all that. That's division. That's thought dividing love. Thought can't approach love. It's always attempting to. It's all kinds of, like you said, meditation, yoga, and what have you, different kinds of things, and it tries to call it that, creates that.
But I mean, a thought can't approach love. It's not that obvious, but that's one.
Yeah.
Secondly, how does love then come about if it's not thought? So both questions. How would you respond to that then?
Yeah. You have to see that first. It seems to me. It seems you have to really see that is the problem. That we live partially. That word part is something comes apart. A relationship isn't something you put together. You have to come to it whole. And we don't come to it whole.
And perhaps when we experience or feel that love, then we know what love is. And we know that it's not just trying to be kind or trying to be sympathetic with somebody, because there's another quality to that.
Well, that may be partial. See, he says there's partial intelligence, and and we talk about part of love is being kind and etc.
But until we feel that love, we don't know whether what he's talking about, the other stuff, is parts of that love, or...
I didn't hear him say anything about feeling.
No, it manifests at some point, that love.
Even that, I'm suspicious.
No, love is after all a feeling. It's not feeling in the sense, not just, oh, I love you, that everything, but a grand feeling of love is not something intellectual or theoretical.
Or something put together.
Or it's not a summation of those things that you mentioned, like sympathy and kindness. It's not a sum of all parts either. It's just.
So what is love?
Perhaps when you feel this enormous love in a sort of romantic relationship. If it goes very, very deep, I think we've all felt it at some point in our lives. Perhaps that is approximating the love that he's talking about. It's something which is felt. It's an emotion.
I'm not sure.
You can put it as a question at least.
Yes. Is it an emotion? Is it
an emotion? Yeah.
Not a physiological emotion or something manufactured in the brain or like a sensation, but is it after all an emotion?
See, when I look at the word emancipation, there's the M-A-N refers to the hand. Manual labor, you're using your hands. When you use the word M-A-N, manifest, that just, there's the hand. It can't be handled. But
manifest is also like something
thing,
which actually before perhaps was not felt or visible, all of a sudden is there. So that's also another meaning of man. You can't reduce everything to a sort of a, man is hand again. I don't think you can reduce it that way.
How would you, if we don't look at it from abstraction, right? But
yes.
how is it more for you in your life? How do you relate love to your life?
I would say there's been times when there's been that love, I would say.
And how does that show?
It's an enormous feeling of oneness, a deep concern for everyone and everything. That's why I'm saying it's something which is, and it manifests because before perhaps we were not in touch with that. Then all of a sudden we're in touch with that, so it's there. So in that sense,
you're saying it's like it comes and it goes, and it's there at certain moments.
Well, perhaps I think what I'm feeling is that I'm just experiencing the rudimentary love that he's talking about. So it's not stabilized yet in consciousness, but it's there in a rudimentary manner. And because of other factors, it sometimes gets lost.
It seemed like this video is kind of typical Krishnamurti in the later years, in that it's just virtually all negation. I mean, everything he says is negative. I mean, if you didn't know who he was, you would think he was a very depressed person. It's like, oh, I mean, but it seems like an approach to these questions is to set aside all this stuff, set aside everything. He seems to be doing that. He has no good news. It's all bad news. It's almost funny when you hear him going on and on and on in his voice, where it's like, oh, it's like he's not a good news guy, and good news sells.
No, I mean, there is. He's talking about freedom, love, intelligence.
I think he gets to
That's
the
not negative
part as just what's kind of left over after he's taken everything else away.
Yeah, he takes everything away, that's true.
But I don't
all
think
our comforts.
the emphasis wasn't on love. The key word there was freedom.
Freedom. But that's all goes together though. You see, it's not separate.
Doesn't freedom imply not being caught up?
No strings attached.
Yeah.
That's what he says, when you go help the poor and you want to convert them to some kind of faith or religion.
Yeah.
So you're helping the poor with a string attached. With a string attached.
Yeah.
That's not freedom. That's what I said. Another thing to your this thing, my observation is, he was more into negation in the beginning, and his talks later period was much more relaxed in that. There is a negation. There is always negation is there, but he comes very strongly in 50s and 60s compared to the talks 85, 86.
Absolutely.
85, 86 is really. Another thing also, when I observe that you are right. An ordinary person comes and sees him, he looks like a depressed, but people who want to explore about jealousy, greed, or the human sorrow, don't feel that notion of depression doesn't come. Says, hey, something is telling us to do something. That's what